Hello again. Welcome to Along the Rock, our podcast that pays homage to the people of the Sauk Valley. The valley and the river, of course, that runs through it. My name is Mark Morris. I'm your host. Joining me, a familiar face. We, of course, did some pre-show introductions. I guess it would have been several months ago for the previous show that the Mosaic Theater Troupe is doing. This will be the Mosaic's spring play coming up next month. Artistic Director Sean Ports is joining us. Sean, thanks for coming up.
Thanks, Mark. It's nice to be here.
Yep. Ms. Holmes and Ms. Watson, Apartment 2B. Now, if you know anything about Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson, you know there's a connection here. This show is by Kate Hamill, and what are the similarities and what are the differences, I guess, would be my first question.
I would say the first big difference is that Sherlock and Watson are both female characters. And while that really doesn't play any bearing on the show, Kate Hamill writes a lot of feminine interpretations of things. She has some fast-paced comedies of Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility, things like that. So she's taken a Sir Arthur Conan Doyle story and turned it into a more female-forward show. Her tagline of this show is cheerfully desecrating the stories of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. But it's obvious that she has both respect and just enough knowledge to kind of, if you will, disrespect the story to make it a silly kind of comedy with lots of gags in it.
Sure. Well, it sounds interesting. Any music this time? I know in A Christmas Carol there was.
No, there will be no music. This show didn't lend itself that way. We do have opportunity coming up, though. We are in talks about forming a choir for Mosaic. We would like it to be more of a community-facing choir where if people wanted to get involved, they would have an opportunity to audition and be a part. Almost kind of like the municipal bands of cities. We don't necessarily want to market ourselves that way, but we at least want to be a more community-involved choir that we would be recruiting for. Details about that will go out in the next couple of months as we kind of finalize those things.
You mentioned beyond church and school, it's sometimes hard to find a vocal musical group to join.
Yeah.
So this would be, I guess, a good idea. And for people who may not even want to act, they just want to sing.
Yeah, we talked a lot through Christmas Carol about the opportunities that adults are sometimes afforded, and especially in the local area, there's not a lot of opportunity unless you're part of a church or you're still in school to be in a choir. And I've talked to a lot of adults that are like, I wish I had that opportunity. I don't. I love to sing, and I don't have anything to be a part of. So we have some very passionate leaders in our group that want to head that up, be the choir director, and they want to get that launched soon. We may not see it until summer, but it's something that's going to happen.
Sure. Last time you did A Christmas Carol again in a very interesting old building. The first time I'd ever been in there. Tell us where this show will be and what's different about it.
We're partnering with the Northwest Territory Historic Center again. It's the old school on the south side of Dixon. It's a huge, restored, gorgeous school building that was built in the early 1900s. And now is affiliated with the Smithsonian, so it has lots of different exhibits of what they're calling the Northwest Territory, or where we are with the prairies and bison. But we're in their auditorium again. Last time we performed Theater in the Round, so we were on the floor surrounded by the audience, but we're taking advantage of their main stage that they have in there. It's not a huge stage, but it's accommodating to what we need. So it will be a very traditional style show where audience on the floor looking at the stage, watching the show.
Okay. Dates?
Dates are April 11th, 12th, and 13th. April 11th and 12th are at 7:30, and April 13th is 2 p.m. That is Palm Sunday, but I would say that, go celebrate and come and watch our show, as it's going to be a good day to engage in some theater.
Sure. And you have an interesting ticket price setup.
Yes.
I understand. Again.
Yes. As one of our values, we say we want to be more accessible. Often I feel theater is viewed as kind of an elite form of something that only those with money can afford. So we set our ticket prices a little lower than what the area seems to be affording. So adults are $20, students are $10 with a valid ID. Groups of 5 or more, whether it's a mix of adults and students or it's all adults and all students, can get $5 off their ticket with 5 or more people in their group, and they purchase them all at once. And then our Sunday show, we offer a pay-what-you-can ticket price as part of our idea of accessibility. It's a minimum of $1, and those don't qualify for other discounts, as you can pay $1 or $100 if you so felt like it.
Sure. And you're teaming up with somebody else. Last time it was the
last time it was the PADS shelter.
PADS shelter.
Yes. Yes. Again, as part of who we are, we like to highlight nonprofit missions and what they do. So this time we're partnering with the Shining Star Children's Advocacy Center. They help to support children who have experienced cases of neglect and abuse. And while that sounds very sad, and it is, what they do is extraordinary work. I had the opportunity to talk with Jessica Cash, the executive director, and she told me all about what they do, and it trying to reduce the stress level of the child that's going through it by only having them go through one interview and one conversation, typically, so that they're not talking to the police and talking to the doctor and talking to everyone. And by the time they're done, they've talked to 8 people. Shining Star is trying to reduce that by reducing their trauma level to just talk to one person or talk with one person while other people listen in on the conversation. So we're asking audience members to bring in things like new stuffed animals, blankets, card games, because at the end of their interview, all kids, whether they are young or they're older, go home with a take-home bag of snacks and games, stuffed animals.
Sure.
And Jessica told me that even the teenagers love the stuffed animals because it's just something to comfort them.
Sure. And of course, the kids won't have to feel like they're testifying in court.
Yes.
By talking to all those people
and
at
that's
once.
That's
one
the
after
important
another.
thing, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Any connection with them in the CASA program?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. But I guess the same mission in mind.
Yeah.
Make it easiest on the kids, and that helps. Talking with Artistic Director Sean Ports of the Mosaic Theater Troupe and its spring play coming up April 11th, 12th, and 13th. The show is by Kate Hamill. I'd just like to say a little more about the playwright if I could, because writing plays is not an easy gig.
No.
So what else can you tell me about Kate and when this came out?
This came out in 2021, so it's a fairly new show.
Okay.
Coming off the heels of the pandemic, where theaters were, shut down and kind of in a blackout phase. The whole kind of premise of the show, she wrote it on what is called in-show a post-pandemic budget. So lots of the gags and the sight gags are based off of this idea of it being a post-pandemic budget. They can't afford a set. They can't afford costumes. They can't afford all of the kind of extravagances that a normal theater would be able to afford a show like this.
Sure.
So that, there's lots of cutbacks within the show, where we might see an extraordinary light set is reduced to like a flashlight gag because they can't afford a spotlight.
Why not?
But that's kind of the running themes of Kate Hamill's shows are just fast-paced comedies. She really likes to write fast-paced comedies she's turned classics into comedic elements that are not typically funny. Like I said earlier, Pride and Prejudice, she has an adaptation that's only 8 people, and Pride and Prejudice is typically like 30 people.
Right.
So she's kind of turned that into just a romp through Jane Austen's classic book.
Right. Fast-paced, especially these days, is a favorite medium, if you will, for a lot of audiences. So
Yes.
that's a good thing. Christmas Carol was the same way, very fast-paced.
Yes.
If you're not paying attention, you may miss something.
Yes, and I feel like with Sherlock Holmes stories, it's easy to miss things because there's so much exposition in explaining what's happening. And we're not just experiencing kind of one mystery within this show. There's kind of multiple steps to the mystery. So we're figuring out people, and then we're figuring out how the people are involved in the case. and Sherlock kind of breaks all of that down over the course of the show. But when our actress, Caitlin Haley, who is playing Sherlock Holmes, when she gets going, you better be paying attention or you might miss where we are, because there's a lot to hear about what's happening.
All right, Sean, break a leg again, and thanks for coming up.
Thank you.
I'd like to thank Sean for showing up today, and also like to thank our crew, as always, for allowing this show to go on. I'm Mark Morris. Hope you can join us next time along the Rock.